Have you ever had a full day? Checked off a bunch of tasks? Probably felt exhausted by the end of it. And still had the thought, I should be doing more. I am not one to procrastinate, but somehow I still feel like I'm constantly behind, or actively falling behind, in life. Today we're talking about the fear of not doing enough, where it actually comes from, and how to put a stop to that mental loop. Let's start with the feeling, because the feeling that you're not doing enough usually has very little to do with your actual output, and everything to do with pressure, comparison, and perfectionism. There's this pressure to always be productive. Part of that is cultural, since American culture glorifies busyness. Research published in Psychological Review found that in our modern societies, being busy is often associated with higher status and importance. So basically, the busier you appear, the more valuable you seem. And slowing down can be equated to a form of failure. Add in work, family, social media, and your own belief system, and it's easy to cross the line and use your to-do list to measure your worth. But productivity is not identity. And being busy is not the same thing as being effective. Hello, busy work, and being effective is not the same thing as being fulfilled. And if you come from hustle culture, sometimes we're the ones adding extra weight to our own shoulders. Step back and ask, am I the one creating this extra stress? For the next point, let's talk about the internet. I know you're on it. Most of the people you compare yourself to, on social media, or in movies you don't actually know. Studies on social media use published in Computers in Human Behavior show that frequent comparison on social platforms is directly linked to lower self-esteem and increased feelings of inadequacy. Which is really sad. This is partially because you're comparing your full, messy, behind-the-scenes life to someone else's curated highlight reel. So most of the time, you're not behind, you're just seeing edited reality. And remember that even those people that you admire, they're probably comparing themselves to someone else too. This next point kind of ties into the social media point, which is perfectionism. I always thought perfectionism was that girl who was obsessed with her appearance and makeup, but sometimes it looks like things like, that post wasn't good enough, I could have done better, this isn't meaningful enough, it doesn't count. Psychologist Dr. Brown describes perfectionism as a shield we use to avoid judgment and shame, not as a healthy pursuit of growth. It's not a healthy motivator because perfectionism is never satisfied. Nothing feels like enough because enough was never clearly defined. But life is built on small actions which compound over time into massive results. The book The Power of Focus talks about this more in depth. Now that's great and all, but what about practically? What can I do when my mind keeps telling me you should be doing more? Try doing fewer things, but do them intentionally. When your to-do list is overwhelming, your brain interprets that as threat. Too much stress equals a threat. Research from the American Psychological Association shows that chronic stress reduces focus and decision-making ability. So the longer your list, ironically, the harder it becomes to feel effective. So look at your list and ask what actually needs to be done. Choose fewer priorities, but give them your full attention. Try setting boundaries with yourself. A novel idea. As a human being, you cannot operate at peak performance 24/7. Your energy is finite. But just look at what you've accomplished in the past year. Look at how you've grown in the last 5. There's this saying, we overestimate what we can do in 1 year and underestimate what we can do in 3. You're not starting from zero. You're building from experience. So, set expectations based on your real capacity, not someone else's Instagram. Try tracking your time. Just try this for 7 days, not to judge yourself, just to observe. Studies on time tracking and productivity show that self-monitoring increases awareness and improves behavior change outcomes. 2 things will happen. You'll either realize you're doing way more than you thought, or you'll notice where your energy is being channeled. Here's the big takeaway. You are not behind. You are not failing. And you are not required to do everything just in order to be worthy. So instead of asking, am I doing enough? Ask, am I doing what matters? Because when you focus on what truly matters to you, usually the rest will fall into place much easier. If you found this video helpful, please like, comment, and subscribe.